So, that was very painless getting through the border. I thought what I'd do is give you some practical examples of what I can remember. I'm trying to think of a couple of people that really tore my heart out, and maybe in talking about it you can understand why it took me so long to recover, but also maybe you can say, well, if I were in that situation, this is what I would do. And in doing that, maybe we can all learn from them. I can remember, for example, going out with a heck of a nice guy. This is when I was in Africa. Absolute charmer. And he and I have been going out for, I guess, about 3 or 4 months. So I'd known him for quite a while, and it was, you know, fairly serious stuff, I thought. And he was away on a business trip, unquote, and for some reason I needed to contact him, and it was fairly important to me. I can't remember what it was about now, but it was fairly important that I contact him. So I called his company and said, oh, I need to get hold of John, whatever his name was, you know, can anybody tell me where he's staying, because I need to get a message to him. And I understand, you know, he's on a business trip, and that's why I'm calling. Well, the reaction I got was a little bit weird. The reaction I got wasn't, oh yeah, hang on a second. The reaction I got was a business trip. Hang on a second. And the next thing I know is I got another person who also sort of said, and he told you he was on a business trip? And I said, yeah. And again, I didn't get a straight answer, so by now I'm beginning to realize there's something not right here. And that horrible, horrible feeling where you're going, what does everybody else know and I don't? What is it that I don't know? So when I got put through to the third person, I actually asked that question. And I said, look, 2 people have dodged the question, so therefore I'm missing something. Could somebody please tell me what it is that I'm not getting? And the guy was kind enough to tell me the truth. He said, I don't know how to tell you this, but he is not on a business trip. And I said, what? No, he's on his honeymoon. What? And the guy said, I'm so sorry to have to tell you. He is on his honeymoon. And I took a really deep breath. So that I could get some level of control. And I thanked him kindly for the truth. And I put the phone down. I don't have to tell you that my heart had been ripped out of its rightful place. I thought I was in a relationship with this guy. How could I have missed this? And then you start well, I don't know about you, but I know I start the insanity of, why? Why didn't he tell me? Why didn't I know? Why didn't I see it coming? I mean, start with the question why and add anything you like after it. And I can tell you that one of the things I now know, all these years later, is who cares why? They did. Trying to work out the why does not, I can tell you this right now, does not make you feel any better. In fact, trying to work out the why will either put you in depression for a very long time, I've had it happen, or else you will get physically ill over and above depression. So I now know that whenever I find myself going, yeah, but why did so? No, forget that, Sal. Forget the why. It's not going to help. They just did. The pain and betrayal and lack of justice and abandonment, three things that are triggers for me. I'm pretty sure you all know what your triggers are. Those three just hit me boom, boom, boom. And my heart closed. Well, the reason it closed is because there was nothing left. You see, I loved that guy, and he took my heart with him. Not that he cared, not that apparently it was important to him, but I had given him my heart, and he took it. And now he was married on a honeymoon and undoubtedly having a lot of fun. And yes, that made me very angry. Because in everything to do with loss, we start with denial. I can't believe that's happening. What did you just say? We start with denial, and then you get to anger. And oh my God, was I angry. But you know, when I think about it now, I think how angry was I with myself that I never saw this coming. And I think that's what a lot of us do. We really beat up on ourselves because we didn't see it coming. We had the rug pulled from under our feet without supposedly any warning at all. Now, does that make us stupid? Maybe. I don't know. Don't know what happened then, but my car just... Okay. Must have been a crosswind I didn't expect. Yeah, there is a bit of wind, so... Always amazes me that the wind can move such a heavy car. Oh, okay, got the adrenaline going. So I remember the pain very well. I remember my anger very well about how come he was going off to be happy and I was so in so much pain. Well, you know, when I look back on it now, when I look back at it with different emotional intelligence than I had then, how happy could this man be? If he had no problem about dating me at the same time he was about to get married, 3 months before he was about to get married, and did enough dating of me that I thought we were in a relationship. And that took quite a bit of attention in those days. How can he be happy? Well, 2 ways. Number one is if he has no conscience whatsoever. That he just used me. Oh my gosh, you definitely don't want to feel that, do you? But it was true. But you know, I look back on it now and I go, you know, was he really happy? What are the chances of that marriage ever lasting? Because if he did it to me, could he do it to his new wife? I think so. And you know, now when I look back on it all these years later, I go, phew, dodge that bullet. Because I'm sure a lot of you would agree, I'd rather be single than married to that guy. But oh, the pain of it. I can't remember how long it took me to understand the process of loss. But one thing I would recommend to anybody who is going through heartbreak, be it because of a death or because of a breakup in a situation, study the process of loss. Do all the research you can, get the books that you can, read all you can about what happens to us in a cycle of loss. There is a cycle we have to go through. And, you know, if we go back to the old adage, which is pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. And basically what that means is we are going to feel the pain when somebody betrays us. We're going to feel the pain when somebody does something as disgusting as this. But how much we suffer is in direct proportion to our emotional intelligence, is in direct proportion with our ability to say, it does not control my life. I don't need to ask why. I don't need the answers. I need to get on with my life. And I'd like to suggest and choose better next time. And I know some of you are saying, how do you do that? I was remarkably bad at that. I've often said, and depending on what your belief system is, just bear with me here, but I've often said that God repeats the lesson that you need to learn for as many times until you get it. You know? And I cannot tell you how many times I had this heartache represented to me until eventually one day I said, enough. And I'll talk about another story on my way home from this trip. But I hope that what I've been talking about makes some sense to some of you. Bottom line goes back to the pain is inevitable. How much we suffer is our choice, because it has to do with how long do we hang on to it. Now, if somebody very close to you has died, I understand that sometimes you need to hold on to that for the rest of your life, and some people do. I know that for some people, the loss of the greatest love of their life, they don't need to replace it. You know, they just say, I had the greatest love of my life, and I don't need another one. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be happy. That just means you don't need somebody to fill that space. There is a difference between honoring the person who died and living your life. And for those of you who understand what I'm talking about, I am pretty sure that anybody who loved you dearly would not want you to spend the rest of your life in misery. And I'd like to suggest anybody that can break your heart to the extent that we're talking about in the story didn't love you in the first place. Not only did they not necessarily love you in the first place, but secondly, they didn't have the strength of character to be able to tell you the truth. And I'd like to suggest that today I know at a whole different level, I deserve better than that. And so do you. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.